and welcome back to Finding Wendy. Well, not too much has happened this week, but I am going to talk about a new course that I am following at the Toronto Western Hospital. It's called Mindful Eating. So stay tuned. Okay, so first my stats. So back in December, I started this whole process and I weighed 450 pounds. On February 20th, I had was the first day of Optifast, and I had to follow Optifast for a month. And by the way, if you have any questions about Optifast and about this liquid diet, just mention them in your comments below. And I was 373, 400 when I started the Optifast. My first day of surgery was March 20th. I was 375. Last week I was 297.8, and this week I'm 297. So 0.8 loss, which isn't bad, and pretty happy with that because the week before, of course, I lost 5 pounds. So that's, it's up and down, up and down, up and down. So every now and then my dog is going to be barking in the background. Don't mind her. So I wanted to talk about this new course that I'm taking. It's a course that I'm taking at Toronto Western Hospital. It's called Mindfulness Based Eating and Awareness Training. And it's an 8-week course that I'm taking at Toronto Western Hospital. There are about 22 participants in the course, and I'm really, we had our first information session last week, and we get a handout every week. And basically, the reason why I'm taking this course is because I read this wonderful quote the other day, and it just really hit home about weight regain. Weight regain occurs because of the return of old habits. Old habits return when you have unresolved issues that subconsciously sabotage or interfere with your following through with healthy behaviors. So, of course, the biggest reason that you have weight regain with bariatric patients or anybody who's on a diet is because of your head. And so basically what this course is going to be teaching me is what is mindfulness. So mindfulness is a practice that is practiced throughout the whole healthy community, people that do yoga. It's a form of meditation, things like that as well. But it can also be applied to eating and to a healthy lifestyle. So in general, mindfulness is paying attention non-judgmentally with openness and compassion in the present moment, focusing on an object like a breath to train your attention and get attention to thinking, distance from thinking, noticing thoughts, experiences, sounds, feelings, physical sensations as they arise, and a practice that promotes a better choice and acceptance of what it is. So I'm going to post a link to a YouTube video of a cute little cartoon about why mindfulness is a superpower, and I'll have that link either here on the screen or below.
You may have heard this word mindfulness. It's become something of a buzz phrase of late. So I'm going to give you one simple, serviceable definition, which is this. Mindfulness is the ability to know what's happening in your head at any given moment without getting carried away by it. Imagine how useful this could be. Just as an example, you're driving down the road and somebody cuts you off in traffic. How do you normally react? I think most of us, we normally react by having a thought, which is, I'm pissed. And then what happens next? You immediately, habitually, reflexively inhabit that thought. You actually become pissed. There's no buffer between the stimulus and your reaction. With just a little bit of mindfulness, in that same situation, you might notice my chest is buzzing, my ears are turning red, I'm having a starburst of self-righteous thoughts, I'm getting angry. But you don't necessarily have to act on it and chase that person down the road, screaming at them with your kids in the back of the car thinking you've gone nuts. Now, you might be thinking, don't I need to get angry sometimes? Aren't I justified? I would say yes, but probably not as much as you think. The proposition here is not that you should be rendered by mindfulness into some lifeless, non-judgmental blob. The proposition is that you should learn how to respond wisely to things that happen to you, rather than just reacting blindly. And that, my friends, is a superpower. How do you get it? The way to get it is through meditation. I believe that meditation and mindfulness are the next big public health revolution. In the 1940s, if you told somebody you were going running, they would have said, "Who's chasing you?" But then what happened next? The scientists swooped in, they showed that physical exercise is really good for you, and now all of us do it, and if we don't, we feel guilty about it. And that's where I think we're headed with mindfulness and meditation. It's going to join the pantheon of no-brainers like brushing your teeth, eating well, and taking the meds your doctor prescribes for you. Let me just close by saying, mindfulness is not going to solve all of your problems. It's not going to render your life a nonstop parade of unicorns and rainbows. Nonetheless, this is a superpower, and one that is accessible by you immediately.
Below. And so basically the principles of mindful eating is just eating while eating. Using all your senses in choosing to eat food that is both satisfying to you and nurturing to your body. Acknowledging your responses to food, like dislikes, without judgment. Allowing yourself to become aware of the positive and nurturing qualities of food. And becoming aware of physical hunger and cues to guide your decisions to begin and end eating. So whether or not you're full or not is something that you will be able to sense more after taking this course. I'm hoping. And so it's an 8-week course, and so every week we're going to be confronted with things like 6 of the 8-week courses, they're going to be bringing food, and we're going to be confronted with our trigger foods. Like next week, or is it the week after, they're going to bring in chips, popcorn, raisins, chocolate, fudge brownies, all these things that terrify me to knock a trigger. You know, last week here at our apartment complex, I wanted to tell you a story that we were watching a film all together, all the neighbors together. They had one of those big blow-up screens, and they brought in a popcorn cart. And I was sitting there we were watching Dirty Dancing, which is a great film to rewatch with all your neighbors sitting on Muskoka chairs. And halfway through the film, I thought, you know what? I'm going to have some of that popcorn. So, you know, it was a little bag. It was about 2 cups of popcorn. And I looked it up on my app and said, okay, yeah, it's got carbs, but it's not too bad calorie-wise. It was like 60 or 80 calories. But after I ate that popcorn, I felt so guilty. It's like, you know, I was terrified. Like, is this going to be a trigger? Is this going to be a trigger? Am I going to run to the local convenience store and buy a giant bag of popcorn and finish off the night with more carbs? So that's this mind training and this mindful eating training that exact issue is going to be addressed. How can I live the rest of my life with being confronted with all of these foods that terrify me? So that I don't regain the weight that I've lost. So it's very, very interesting, and there are only 5 practitioners in Ontario that teach this particular course, and all of them, luckily, are at Toronto Western Hospital. So I'm very happy to be able to share. And again, these are my experiences. I'm not a teacher. These are my experiences that I'm going to be sharing with you. And if you can relate to them, that's great. If you don't, well, move on, I would say. But I'm looking forward to taking this course, and then next week is the next session. So that was the mindful eating course, and then that was on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday I was back at Toronto Western Hospital for my bi-weekly support group meeting, and that was great fun. We all sat in a giant circle with the nutritionists and other practitioners that are able to help us, and we present questions. And I presented the question about this New York Times article that I spoke about in an earlier video about the metabolic rate, the dropping of the metabolic rate. And so we didn't get enough time to talk about it, so hopefully we'll talk about it in the next session. Yeah, so some big NSVs coming up. Okay, so a big NSV is that I started wearing some jeans, and I went through my closet and looked for some jeans that would fit. A lot of them are too big, but finally found a pair that does fit, wore them for a day, and then they ended up starting to fall off as well. So, yeah, so that's fun. And then I was wearing an old Royal Conservatory of Music sweater, my old school alma mater. Oh, there's my dog again. Sorry about that. Yeah, my old school sweatshirt, because for some reason it's gotten really cool for the last few days here in Toronto. Today is like only 14 degrees. I would say Fahrenheit it's about 60 degrees or 55 degrees. It's kind of cool. So you have to wear a sweater when you go outside and take out the dog. So anyway, that's it for this week. Lots of updates. Thanks so much for joining me. And again, next week I'll talk a lot more about this mindfulness based eating and awareness. Remembering, for example, this other quote. You know, at first I was skeptical about this course. It's like, oh God, I'm not into yoga. I'm not into meditation, you know, that kind of stuff. But then the more and more the practitioner was talking about this, who is a doctor of psychology, another quote was, acknowledging your responses to food without judgment, allowing yourself to become aware of the positive and nurturing qualities of food. So to get rid of that horrible sense of guilt when you eat something that you maybe shouldn't have eaten, and getting back to the enjoyment of food, because food is great. Let's face it, food is great. We can't live without food. You can live without alcohol, you can live without drugs, you can live without smoking, but you can't live without food. So my goal is to live the rest of my life enjoying food, but not regaining the weight while enjoying that food. So that's it for this week. Thanks so much for following me. Please don't forget to subscribe. Please don't forget to like. And please don't forget to ring the little bell. And that way the people at YouTube will sit up and notice me and give me lots of extra things like way to go and stuff like that. So tune in next week and we'll have some more updates for you. That's it for now, and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.